Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. And this is from Zack Snyder, of course, director, writer, along with Kurt Johnstad and Shay Haddon. And this film is the second part to his Rebel Moon duology here that focuses on the story of Kora, played by Sofia Boutella, who has a dark past with his intergalactic empire, the Realm, and she is on this small harvesting planet, and now basically space Nazis want to come and, take things over, and this is literally just Seven Samurai. It's the Magnificent Seven. It's A Bug's Life. It's the same basic story, and except now we're at the second part, so this is its own film, focusing on, they gathered up the warriors in the first film, and now we're here, we're prepping, and we're going to battle. This is a 2-hour and 2-minute film. The first hour of this film is nothing but slow motion shots of people cutting, grain. And I'm just like, how many slow-motion shots can we possibly get of them harvesting their crops? But it kept going. And then, even in the plot synopsis, it's like, and then our warriors reveal all their motivations. I'm like, if your plot summary is that obvious that this film is just a bunch of flashbacks with narration over it, that's not a good sign. That's lazy. And this film is so lazy in the fact that, there's a huge chunk of this film that we're trying to build up to this conflict where it's just like, now it's my turn to tell my tragic backstory, and actor narrates over literally a whole entire slow motion shot scene of their tragic backstory, and you're just like, how much slow motion can you possibly throw into this film? And at that point, it's just so draining and dragging and clunky in terms of how this film is paced and scripted. And still, despite the fact that we get all these backstories for all these characters, we still don't care. There's still not an emotional connection. This film is just all flash. Sure, I will give it credit for its production design, its cool look, its world building. But this story is just a hodgepodge of flashback clips of characters' backstories, and then we finally get some action at the end of it, and you're just like, I'm already out. We've been through over an hour of backstory, and we finally get up to the action, which yeah, sure, the action's cool, but you don't care about anybody at this point. They even had, Anthony Hopkins voicing this robot, which, there's a cool story there, except he's sidelined for most of the film while you're just listening to people tell their slow-motion tragic backstories and slow-motion harvesting grain. And there's so much choppy editing, because so much of this film is just people sitting there talking, or talking at people through most of this film that, it's going to feel stagnant, but it's overly edited. It's well, we're going to have 15 different shots of this person, Daijin Hansu, talking to a group of people. And you have some really talented actors here, and some that give in some horrible performances, to be honest. And there's one particular one where there's a big scene of Sofia Boutella telling her tragic backstory about the king and the queen and the princess, and there's this one character that has the most atrocious accent. And you're just completely takes you out of the scene, where you're just wait, what? What's even, where's that even coming from? And he's such a big fixture of this emotional beat. And then there's this forced love story between Michael Hussman's Gunner and Sofia Boutella's Kora that just does not sell at all. And then you spend, pillow talk time with them, and I don't care. Why are we spending so much time here? Sure, by the time the action rolls around, it's cool. It's Zack Snyder action. If you love Zack Snyder's action, then you're going to love that. But up to that point, this film is so boring and so obnoxious, and I love Tom Holkenborg's score for Fury Road. He has started being in a lot of different films, especially for Zack Snyder. But a lot of his scores are just sounding like the same really, really loud, same basic idea over and over and over again. And this film just reinforces that. Because there's some moments where it's just like slow motion and then boom! Score at you. And it sounds like the same kind of score that he did for Justice League. Same score for a couple of his most recent films. And it just sounds repetitive and boring at this point. This film is just such a slog for most of it, and like I remember him trying to build this up as like, well, that was all the build up and now this is the payoff. No, there's still like 2/3 of this movie that's still build up, leading up to, you have had a whole film and a half basically of build up to throw off like one Zack Snyder action sequence. It wasn't enough, and this was not an engaging or interesting take on this particular story that's been told so many different times. It just, you know, why are they not spending any time getting to know these people of this town instead of, you know, just turning to the camera? It's like, hi, I'm one of the warriors and this is my backstory. And that's a giant chunk of this film, also in slow motion. So in the end, this didn't really do it for me, and yet again, I'm not surprised. Like, if this was really true that like this was a pitch Star Wars movie that he went to Lucasfilms with and they rejected him, like, I'm not surprised. But you know, Netflix made it. But those are my thoughts on Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.